As security agencies are starting to draw hard conclusions from the horror in Paris, one thing is clearer. There is a need for better and faster identification of people. This is where Israeli startup AU10TIX can help. Their product is an automated tool providing a speedy and efficient method of verifying the authenticity of official forms of identification, like passports, driving license, and national ID cards. While manual detection of fraud would require an impractical amount of time and expertise, the AU10TIX algorithms scan documents in an average of 5 to 8 seconds. So, is this the answer for faster and more secure identification? Will this assist the war on terror? Let's authenticate some details with Ron Atzmon, Managing Director at AU10TIX. Good evening.
Good evening.
So tell us a little bit about AU10TIX. What does it do exactly?
So basically we're an image processing company, and we're able to look into your identifying documents, as you said, passports, IDs, and travel licenses, and see that if someone tried to tamper with a document. And at very fast speed.
Very fast speed, 5 to 8 seconds is very fast.
On an average, on a good quality image, yes, correct.
Okay, I'm just imagining when I go to a random airport and he takes my passport, how long does it take him usually?
That depends, you know, if he's using, if he's doing it manually, if he's doing it semi-manually. So it differentiates. The thumb rule in immigration authorities is the immigration officer needs to give a go, no go to pass you or to put you on the side after 10 seconds. So there's lots of pressure on the immigration officer to streamline the process. And, you know, as air travel increases, you know, and there's not enough immigration officers, the pressure on the person increases on a daily basis.
So are you the scanner I see sometimes, or are you the...
We had the software.
The software on the computer?
Not in every airport, but our system is deployed in several countries around the world.
And how did you get started? I mean, where did the idea come from?
Well, we are not your typical company. We spun off this technology from a bigger company called ICTS, and ICTS, its core business is screening passengers in airports. So we, about 10 years ago, understood that the business is, you know, our technology is needed for governments, and then we started selling it, not just using it internally in our own operation, from our own operation point of view, but selling it to some of our governments. But as governments are a bit slow to adapt new technologies, we have identified other verticals, like in the financial services, where from a regulation point of view and anti-money laundering, you need to verify that the person opening a bank account or want to transfer money or make a payment needs to present their ID. So we are enabling to do this in a very effective way.
So when I open an account for a bank account or PayPal account or whatever, you're there somewhere?
Yeah, exactly. We deal in part of the PayPal is one of our customers. We do that also for some the lenders in the UK, like Zopa, Payoneer, TransferWise, a couple of interesting customers.
Interesting. And, you know, one of the major stories in the attacks on Paris was now the fake or not fake Syrian passports. What's your take on it?
Well, we have yet to see the images. You know, that depends on the quality of the people that are creating these documents. You know, they're using what is called a clean passport, which is a real authentic, and they're just using it, or they're using a synthetic passport. If we'll get to touch the documents, we'll be able to give a much more educated answer.
And if it's a clean passport, can you still say this is not this person?
Well, that depends how exactly it was forged. I mean, like you know, giving an uneducated answer before actually looking into the document itself will be not the right way to approach it.
Okay, so let's talk about in general, because you know the concept of fake IDs and passports is now in the news. What's the problem there with identification? Is it easy to fake a passport or ID, or is it much tougher than we think?
That depends on the country. I mean, like their countries are much more, their documents are much more, I mean, like are much more secured. There are countries that their documents are much easier to fraud. For example, the Syrian passport, you need to remember that Syria is now unfortunately in a state of anarchy. So there's access to different production procedures of these passports. So I would say the Syrian passports, I would say, I won't call it an uneducated guess, but from hearing from what's going in the news, the Syrian passports are relatively easy to fake.
And what's your take on general about how Europe is handling authentication? I know Europe is big and there are many countries. But
Europe
still.
is big. I won't paint everything in one brush, but some countries are quicker to adapt. Some countries are slower to adapt. I think. It's a very sad thing what happened in Paris, and there are good lives that got lost there. But I think, who knows? I think there might be a wake-up call to to start automating the process, because it doesn't really matter where you get in. If you get from Greece or from Switzerland or from Italy, now when you have the Schengen, so even if you, for example, you land in Rome and your end destination is Munich, there's needs to be one standard for all the EU in order to create a good, effective way to protect Europe as a whole.
Okay, so you're waiting for a call now?
I don't know. We're already, as I said, we're already working with different governments, so we'll see what will happen.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the technology itself and for coming, for paying us a visit.
Thank you for having me in. Thank you very much. Take care.
We're moving on.